Hello my beautiful queens. I really want to make a video for the women who are in current relationships right now or have been in past relationships where those relationships were making them sick. And I can only speak on this because this is something that I went through. I was in 2 relationships back to back that lasted the course of 7 years and in both of those I was sick. And I was sick in ways that I no longer am. So having the self-awareness to look at what is going on in your life and how that is manifesting in your body is absolutely key. I'm going to put in the description box a link that I've used before in previous videos about the signs and symptoms in our bodies and what that means spiritually. So it's translating the message between the symptom and what it's trying to say to you. And this is by a beautiful woman, Louise Hay, and I really highly encourage you to check that list out for what symptom you're experiencing and how you can better understand and support yourself. In the first unhealed relationship that I was in was with a man who had a lot of wounds and toxicity that he was not dealing with. The health problems that I started to have in this relationship was a lot of anxiety that manifested into an extremely upset stomach. There was not a single day in this 3-year relationship that went by that I did not take Imodium, and that speaks volumes. That is a big red flag, but I did not understand at the time. So this is why I want to make this video, because I want you to hear the words coming from another woman so you can link it and connect it in your own life to, okay, this is actually starting to make sense. I don't actually have to be sick all the time. I don't have to feel bad in my body. So it has been 11 years since that relationship and I have not taken Imodium since. So there is healing in the process, and I promise you, you will not be sick forever if you choose healing first. What my body was trying to say to me in this relationship was I was having a problem with my solar plexus. That's where that chakra resides, is in our stomach. And I was having a really hard time listening to my intuition. I was having a really hard time with my confidence, with my own personal power, and I felt powerless. I felt a victim to this circumstance. And before I get further into this video, I do want to say that these people are not bad people and they are not to blame. If you decide that you want to get out of this relationship and you do not fix any of the things that made you sick in the first place, you will just keep attracting more illness. And that's exactly what happened to me, because I did not take the time in between to heal. And so my wounds and my pains and my illnesses deepened. It was not these men's fault. I attracted them into my life for a reason. They were mirroring to me things inside of me that I did not want to see. And that is what relationships are. They are our biggest and best mirrors for our unhealed parts. And once you start healing those parts, that mirror will change and shift as you grow and expand. So I did not heal from that relationship. I went into another relationship that was the hardest mirror I have ever looked in. And in this relationship, I really struggled with my self-worth, my self-love, and I did not believe that I was enough. And my partner was mirroring that to me more and more and more and more, and showing me how much I was not enough. And what ended up happening in this relationship is I got breast implants because I believed that that would make him choose me over all the other women that he was choosing. And I believed that these implants were my answer. They were going to make me whole, and I was coming from a complete place of lack. I was desperate, and when I got these implants, my body started to reject them, and I got what is now known as breast implant illness. And with my particular case, it was many different symptoms that were signaling to me that I was very inflamed. So everything was down to inflammation. And the thing that tipped the scale for me in this relationship is I got a positive ANA blood test, which is indicating the presence of autoimmune disease. And what autoimmune disease means is your body is attacking itself. I was attacking myself. I was at war with me on the inside. And what autoimmune disease is a very high amount of stress with a very high amount of cortisol, which leads to a very high amount of inflammation. Inflammation means heat. Heat is red. Red is anger. And I was harboring and holding on to all of this anger from both of those relationships that it started to manifest in an insane amount of physical symptoms for me, because anger is really hard for me to express. And I want you to know that your body is not punishing you. Your body is not betraying you. Your body does not hate you. It is asking you to love yourself. And that is the biggest and deepest message that I got from any of these illnesses is I need to love me. And sometimes loving me is walking away from those relationships that were making me sick. I'm really proud that I was able to do that because I know how hard it is. As women, we tend to take a very long time to make that decision for ourselves. We'll stay in something and break our own hearts over and over and over again until we finally decide to leave. And that's exactly what I did. It took me a really long time for me to pick myself up off the ground, to put my crown back on, to get up and to walk away and put myself first. And that is what the healing journey is. And I promise you, if you are sick in your relationship right now, you need time to heal. And there's a quote that says that we cannot heal in the environment that made us sick or the environment that hurt us. And I strongly believe in that. You need to take time for yourself to heal what is within you that attracted that relationship in the first place. That's the only way forward. And sometimes when you do that, it can heal the wounds, the like trauma bond that you had with that person. It can heal that and you both elevate. And sometimes that means that you have to leave people behind. Love should not make you sick. If it is making you sick, it is not love. That is so much trauma and so much stress and so much difficulty that you're experiencing that you do not need to. No matter how much time that you have invested into this relationship, it does not mean that you need to keep sticking it out. And this is, again, not blaming that other person. This is taking radical self-awareness and self-accountability for your part in this. And that's to look within and say, okay, I have confidence issues. I do not trust my intuition, because if I trusted my intuition, I would not have gotten in that relationship in the first place. I am having a lot of anger that I don't want to express because I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. And if you feel like you're walking on eggshells, you are living in survival. And we do not do that anymore. We are here to be the fullest expression of ourselves and the healthiest embodiment of feminine energy. And that means we can clearly express ourselves. That means that we can feel confident in who we are, feel confident in our relationship, feel confident in the man that we have chosen to be in our lives, and all of these things. One of the biggest things that we are seeing now in our modern day is autoimmune disease in women. And why is this? Because women push everything down. We suppress so much of our emotions, and this is not just ours, this is generational. So imagine all of the things that your grandmother pushed down, that your mother pushed down, that you were pushing down, all of those that they did not deal with got passed on to you. Because what happens with emotions is they get trapped in the body when we do not fully release them. So we push them down, we trap them in our cells and our DNA, we pass it along. So it goes from grandmother to mother to you. And this happens over and over and over again until someone decides that's enough. And if you are watching this video, you were that person. And I say that in a lot of my videos because it is so important for you to hear over and over and over again until it clicks. I see a lot of women with thyroid issues, and this is because women are so afraid of using their voice. They either don't feel heard, or they don't feel like their voice carries any power. They don't feel like they can speak up because they are afraid of what the consequence is going to be for speaking their mind. They feel like women should be seen and not heard. All of these programming and limiting beliefs that have shaped the woman that is watching this video is what is contributing to her illness. So watching for these things and really understanding what your body is saying to you, I promise there is healing. And this is a video to bring in awareness, not for you to feel overwhelmed like you have no choice, but to continue suffering because you're already in a mess. No. You can change your life at any point in time. All you have to do is decide. And I know that sounds really tough, but for me, in my second relationship, I had a friend tell me when he was starting to be secretive again, starting to do the same old song and dance that we had been through many times, and I was feeling extremely low. She gave me the hardest truth that I needed to hear. What you allow is what will continue. And this is what pulled me out of my victim consciousness. Before I was at the mercy of his actions, I felt completely powerless. I felt like, why is he doing this to me? Why can't he just see me? Why can't he appreciate me? Why doesn't he love me? Why doesn't he choose me? Until I decided, you know what? I gotta choose me. I have to appreciate me. I have to love me. I have to give myself all of those things that I am begging him for. No. I do not beg a man anymore to give me what I need. I'm going to give it to myself, and the right man will also give those things to me because I've embodied it. You cannot attract something that you are not. It is not on the same frequency as you. So the higher you raise yourself, the higher quality of a man you're going to call in. In that moment, when she said those words to me, I decided to stop being that victim and take that control and that power back. I cannot control that man that is in front of me, even though I tried really fucking hard. I tried so hard to control him in ways that I am embarrassed to say. I became a woman who is unrecognizable. I feel so sad for that girl that I was, thinking that I needed to behave in that way in order to receive love from a man who was not able to give it to me in the way that I was asking. So if you're in one of these relationships, I do want you to recognize that the person that you're with, they probably do love you to the best of their capability, but that is not saying that the way that they love you is the way that you need. And sometimes that does mean you do have to walk away. So I walked away from those relationships. I started working on myself. I spent a lot of time alone, and I really started to dive into my healing. I became a holistic nutritionist. I read a million books on health and wellness and the connection between the body, mind, and the spirit, which those three things are extremely interconnected. You have to have balance in all three of them. You cannot have one without the others, or you're imbalanced. And so I started working on ways in my life to balance the three. So for my mind, I started working on reprogramming my mind, knowing that I am worthy, saying my affirmations, listening to Abraham Hicks, reading books that were extremely informative about how to build a better life, how to start manifesting, how to be in my feminine energy. So I was working on my mind. I was working on my body by giving it healthy and nutritious food that is alive and vibrant, making me feel more alive and vibrant, food that is not full of toxic ingredients, food that is clean. I started making sure that the products that I was using on my body were also higher quality and not toxic. I started making sure that I was moving my body in ways that felt good to my body. In that last relationship, I murdered myself in the gym, working extremely hard in my masculine energy. I was working out 4 hours a day. I was dieting like a crazy person, and this really hurt my body. So I started to have a better relationship with my body, how to nurture it, how to nourish it, how to exercise it and move it, how to connect to my femininity, and all of these things brought me back into my body. I started to work on my spirit by meditating, by journaling, by spending time in nature, connecting to God, changing my music style to mostly frequency, more meditative music, away from the mainstream music that pumps a lot of toxicity into our brains. I started changing all of these things, and that created a better balance within me, and I was able to call in a better relationship. My number one thing is love yourself. That is the biggest, best key that you will ever find. Love yourself. Because once you love yourself, you're not going to accept somebody who loves you less than you love you. You will not do that. You know what love feels like because you gave it to yourself. You know exactly how you want to be treated because that's how you treat yourself. And why would you settle? If you can do that for you, why would you take less from somebody else? So love yourself and listen to your body. Your body is so intelligent, and it really wants you to pay attention to it. And all of these symptoms, all of these things that I went through at the time, I was really frustrated and I was really angry, and I did not want to listen to my body. I thought it was being really, really annoying. And once I understood that it was just trying to say, hey girl, this is what you need to look at it or don't. But if you don't, it's gonna spring back even harder. It's like when we don't rest, our body will force us to rest through an illness or an injury. So all of these things start to accumulate. So the sooner you can pay attention to it and understand it, the quicker it's going to go away, and the more you can move on with your life feeling your best. I hope you found this video helpful. As always, I want you to recognize and hear me. We are the daughters of a king, and that makes us royalty. So we do not lower ourselves down off of our thrones for lower tier men who do not want to deal with their traumas. We deal with our own, we elevate ourselves, and we call in a king.